What is normally a dry bed is now flooded. I promised to be able to get gold here. Question is, can I keep that promise? So an extreme low pressure has just gone down the coast and it's dumped a hell of a lot of rain. It's really filled out the Shoalhaven River, and I have noticed a few things that may be beneficial here. There's lots of trails of sand behind plants and the reeds are flattened. So it really does look like the river was actually up here and it's now dropped down to there. So I'm not sure whether that means some more gold might have shifted or at least concentrated back down there a bit, or in the deeper pockets between these sort of sand banks, if you want to call them anything. But the pressure's on me because I've got a friend coming and it's their first time fossicking, and I promised they'd get gold here. So don't look too foolish. I'm going to do a test pan. Probably half a pan. Thank the dogs. Promise will be fulfilled. Today, I'm fortunate enough to re-experience that first time. I have here a very old friend of mine, Belle, and her partner, Andrew, who are essentially fossicking for the first time. Although, Andrew, when did you fossick?
Probably around 1992 as part of a school excursion.
And did you get any gold?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I got a few flakes and I had a significant amount of gold fever, according to my mum. I don't remember it so much myself.
It didn't last then until now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to start from scratch and see your new equipment and work with that for us. So you purchased some new equipment, which is great. I mean, good to be prepared with that. You've got the essential, and that's the gold pan. The gem sieve, not usually used with gold prospecting, but it will be very effective in what we term categorizing. However, there's one thing I've got to point out about your gold pan. It's not ready.
Ah.
Yes. You actually have to season your gold pan. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is we need to scratch the surface. Otherwise, it's too smooth and everything just slides out. So fortunately for you, I brought along a bit of sandpaper, and that's what you're going to do is season your pan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So when you do get a new gold pan, you do need to season it. I brought some sandpaper knowing this would happen. And you can use river gravel and sand if you want, but you'll be probably spending a lot more time trying to get it seasoned correctly. Now essentially what you want to do is scratch around to create even more riffles, or even tinier riffles, as what we call these little divots here, and really rough it up.
So just do it all over?
Yep, all the way around, and even in these riffles here.
Okay.
So scratch in there as well.
All right.
Now that you've got your pans nicely seasoned, all scratched up, what we also need is a sieve of some sort, and this is to categorise everything first, because otherwise, as you can see down here, we've got all these boulders, and throwing all of those in the pan won't be that easy to pan. So we use this first over the top of the pan, and that will categorise down to whatever size sieve you have. So the gravel will be small enough to go through that, and the gold should be small enough. Here we don't really get really large pieces of gold, so the gem sieve's actually quite fine to do. And in fact, the fine sieve is going to make panning a lot easier. So you can put it on top, and then you shovel in your material, and in the water you'll agitate it, clean it over the pan, and then you can lift the sieve away, and you're left with the material to pan. Okay, so that's what we'll do now, and you'll probably need to go get a shovel, and you ready for that?
Right.
So here at Oallen Ford, it's a bit unusual. Usually you're trying to get down to bedrock or grey clay. We're sort of just scraping under these rocks whatever sand and material we can get. So push the spade or shovel in. Get that material there.
Oh, so you basically fill up your sieve, eh?
Yeah, you want to fill enough to, I'd say, go with half a pan to start with. You can fill the pan with water and just leave it there in front of the shovel to make things easier.
Just like that?
Yeah, put it right under water. Yep, there you go.
See, I saw you doing that, and does that make it easier just to...
It just means you're not swinging it out too far as you saw your lost material.
Okay. Beauty.
As you take as much as possible at first.
Yeah.
And you'll see that I keep it under the water,
Yeah.
because we want the water to move the material as much as possible
Yeah.
to allow that gold to filter down. Then tilt it just slightly towards the riffles,
Yep.
still under the water, side to side, quite vigorously,
Yep.
and then let it wash through. There's got to be enough water to sort of pull that top layer off. So what I do here is just enough water to shift it. Now I know not all of it's moved yet, but what I've got is this layer here that is very light. And quite often I'll pan that off just to double check I don't have gold. And luckily I did. I can just see a little speck moving there. So I've tapped all the top away. This is all light material. I can just check. Again, there's a little gold speck there. This was just one pan. Quickly becoming seasoned professionals.
That's because we've got seasoned pans.
Exactly.
In the
Is
cold.
that too much that's coming off there, or about right?
So this fine mesh sieve from a gem sieve actually makes it easier. So you only get sand in the pan.
Nice.
First fleck of gold there. One speck. But you got to start somewhere. So when you've got your gold, we're going to get some water over the top of it. You squeeze your snuffer bottle. Now I've got a little bit of water in mine. While you've got it squeezed, then go down to the gold and suck it all up. The techniques are starting to work.
Yay.
Could you grab the lid off the snuffer, please?
Sure.
See if I can get these bits up.
No. So just a reminder for all those new people there, gold can float. And you can see all the gold floating on mine. You can add soap, but usually agitating it breaks the surface tension and knocks it to the bottom. Yeah, that's it. Keep it down under the water a bit. Yep. That's the way. And so don't be scared doing that tip forward. Have more water. Keep it more under the water.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so keep under the water while you're doing it.
Okay.
So right under the water. No, more. Yeah, that's it, like that. See how it's really moving it around.
Yep.
And then tip forward. Yeah, that's it. Now you can actually even brush that top layer off if you wanted to. From the back here. So you can brush all that.
Yep. Gotcha.
It's stuff we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So to process it a bit faster, we put it in the classifier here. Then the material from this bucket goes to this bucket with the fine mesh sieve, gem sieve, and that brings it down to almost a sandy material consistency. So that makes it easier to sluice, but also easier to pan. So there's a debate at the moment, pan versus sluice. Which one do you prefer?
I find this a little easier.
Yes.
I can sort of sit here and be lazy and do it.
So after lots of test panning, what I've figured is, you can see upriver it comes around a bend and then runs along here. There seems to be gold just along this edge here. If you go in deeper, you lose the speck count. I haven't tried up the bank, but I'm finding up to 20 to 30 specks in a pan along here, so I don't see a reason to move. It must be that the gold's sort of come around the corner and then settled on this point along here. But still feels really random here at Oallen Ford. So I barely moved, and the speck count's much higher. I really can't figure this place. So what have you discovered with river rocks?
They give good foot massages when
okay.
your feet get sore from the gumbies.
So what's the story here? You know, Andrew's been panning away almost non-stop, stopped for lunch, and what are you doing? Having a massage.
I sluiced for 10 minutes. One whole pan.
The river's dropping incredibly fast. I've adjusted this a few times and I just walked away to do one pan, and now the water's not even going over it anymore. How do you feel you're going there?
Getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, had plenty on the last pan. This one This one doesn't seem to be quite as much, but
Probably still got a bit too much material in it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. The dropping river has become a clock. The water's not even going through the V anymore. So I'm going to take that as it's time to go and start cleaning up. So there's your takings from Oallen Ford. At least you can see it.
Beauty.
Whoa!
Yep. Oh, good.
And as Tim said, better than none.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to see what I've got. So here's my golden frown from Oallen Ford. As we know, we can always turn a frown upside down. It's hard work. You can always get gold here, but you're going to have to put in a lot of effort to get a lot of gold. I don't mind what I've got there, but I've been spoilt. And now my expectations are much higher. So Oallen Ford still delivers, obviously, and it's such a good place for a first-time prospector, I have to say. You are guaranteed to find at least 1 or 2 specks in each pan. The only thing you've got to be wary of is panning correctly and making sure you don't lose that gold as you're distributing the material and letting it run out of the pan. Hope you enjoyed.